Hey everybody, welcome to Gallery SS Photography. This is Sean and I'm going to show you how I'm going to clean up this image. So I was kind of proud of myself. I usually shoot portraits and you can check them out at galleryss.photo on Instagram, and that's my main thing. But I was at a beautiful location doing a photo shoot and I had my camera, I had a polarizer, and I took a couple of pictures and stitched them all into HDR and tried not to make it too pukey. I mean, here's how the picture, whoa, let me just crank this up. This is how the picture looked out of my camera. There was a bunch of red tint from the filter that I was using. I'll do a separate video about using ND filters. But I fixed all that, and I fixed the colors up, and I think I made it kind of pretty, and that's how it looks like. I hope you don't think it's too pukey for you, but I realized one thing. As I was ready to publish this, I've already resized this to a smaller size to make it a wallpaper. And I observed something. I shot this at, I believe, f/22 on a 24-70 lens on my Nikon D610, which I never bother cleaning the sensor because I shoot usually at f4 or bigger aperture. Now, bigger aperture means the number gets smaller, so I have more things out of focus so I can isolate the subject. But when I'm shooting this, I'm closing the aperture down to f16, f22, and I realized that my sensor is dirty as heck. I mean, seriously, look at this. This is all the smudges on my sensor, and it's pretty dirty. I really need to take it in for a cleaning. Of course, if you resize this for Instagram, you go like, make it super tiny. Maybe nobody will notice it, but I notice it, so I'm going to try to fix it. And then I'll take a sensor cleaning later. So the way I'm going to fix it is I'm going to create a new layer, and it's just a blank layer. Here it is. I'm going to call it Dirty. And it is simply a transparent layer. I just went down here, created a new layer. It's called Dirty. It has nothing on it. So I'm going to enable all my other layers with all my adjustments below it. And now I'm going to start fixing it by grabbing the clone spot healing tool here. Sorry, spot healing brush. And here's my brush, and it's small enough, and let me just zoom in on this little dot here. Here's a dot. I don't need to zoom in on it. It's pretty small. I've got good mouse control. I'm going to grab my tool. I'm going to click on it. Hey, look at that. That dot's gone. That dot is gone. So is that one. I'm going to paint around here. That one's gone. This one's gone. So at this point, you'd think, okay, well, I think there's a couple of dots here, but it's getting kind of hard to see them in this corner. I think there's a dot there. So what's the best way? Now, there's tools out there that can attempt to do the cleaning for you, but that can mess things up. I think there's a dot right there as well. Well, I have a really simple and straightforward solution for you. All you have to do is create a new adjustment layer. So I'm going to go right here into Layer. I'm going to go New Adjustment Layer, and I'm going to have a Brightness and Contrast Adjustment Layer. I want to make sure that this layer is above everything. It's the very top layer, and this layer is going to improve my vision. How it's going to happen is I'm going to crank up the brightness. I'm going to dial up the brightness all the way to the max, and I'm going to bring up my contrast as well. And I'm going to look for that sweet spot where I can start seeing the dots. Now I can already see a dot that's right there. If I get rid of this layer, I don't see that dot, but it's actually right there. I can see it. Now, are there any other dots? There's a dot right there. And if I pan over to the side, I'm going to hide this layer for a second. I'm going to pan over to the side because all my dirt builds up in the corners of my sensor. Look at that mess. That's a mess right there. So let's see if I'm going to continue working and adjusting on my dirty layer. So you have to make sure you click back to the dirty layer only when you use your tool. And there you go. I click on that and it's gone. And there's a whole whack over here in the corner. Now there might be other ones, but I can't see them because they are blending into the background. So if I re-enable my brightness adjustment layer here, I have another one there that I was actually just used, but I decided to make a new one for this video to show you they're not enabled. But as you can see, as soon as I turn on this layer, I can see a lot more dots that are hiding in the contrast. There's another one here. There's another one here. There's a couple right there. And I'm not cleaning them up because I'm not choosing the right layer. So go back to dirty, and I click, 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 click. They're gone. Now there's dots right there, and there's a dot right there. If I get rid of my vision layer, I won't be able to see them, but here they are in all their glory. And basically it is a manual process, but at least having this allows you to see your dots. Now other dots could be hiding in the shadows that you may not notice. So what you do is after you've cleaned up all these dots on this side, what you can do is you can dial the brightness down. So you go back to your brightness and contrast layer and slowly bring down the brightness. And you might find dots that are hiding in the shadows that are not seen at full brightness. So if you look here, full brightness, I can see the dots that are against the blue sky, but if I dial the brightness down, all of a sudden I start seeing this dot right there, and there's a couple more dots there that are dirt. So there's another dot there. I can fix that by dialing the brightness down. Of course, going back to my repair layer. Let's look over here in these clouds. This would be a perfect place to show the brightness adjustment. So at maximum brightness, those dots pop out. Working on the dirty layer, I'm adjusting just the dots and creating a new layer with all my cleanup. And if I bring the brightness back down and watch the clouds, I'll be able to see other dots appearing that are hiding. There's one right there, for example, that's not visible at maximum brightness. At maximum brightness, it's kind of there, but you're not sure, but there it is right there. There's another one right here in these clouds. There's one right there. There's one right there. At max brightness, it kind of blends out. You bring the brightness down slowly and you look for those dots appearing. There's another perfect example right here, right in the horizon. And zoom in on it. There's two right there that are hiding out. At max brightness, they're not very visible, but I bring the brightness down and they kind of start falling into the visible range. There's another one right there. Without this layer, could I see it? Yeah, I could see it, but this actually helps me out. I can crank up my contrast even higher or lower and look for those dots. So I've actually done this cleanup already, but let me show you the difference. So again, see, I'm clicking on the wrong layer. You can't adjust your brightness here. I need to go back to my dirty layer. Find that dot, click, gone. Find this dot, click, gone. Anything else? There's these two right there, for example. Click, 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 gone. And you basically spend time doing this if you don't clean your sensor on a regular basis. But yeah, get these dots out of here so nobody can say that you've got UFOs in your shot. And the tool is pretty smart. It's going to fix most of your things, but it's better to have a little blemish in the cloud that's from the repair tool than having these ugly dots all over your screen. But rather than boring everybody with this, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to 100% and I'll show you the before and after effect. So I've created this layer called XO. That's actually a cleaned up layer. I'm going to get rid of my brightness and adjustments. So what we've cleaned up so far, you can see it right here on the screen for these dots, for example. There they are. So there they are. We've removed them, but let me zoom out and let's take a look at my ugly corner here. And I've done about 20 minutes of clicking here, and here is the aftermath. That is cleaned up by yours truly, all through a manual process. And even now I can still spot a dot right there that I can clean out. There it is. So this is actually a layer of all the dots, and if I hide all my other layers, you'll see that here's all my corrections. Now that is one dirty sensor. Shared this video for dirty sensors. But yeah, that's how much mess I've had on my sensor. And if I bring all my layers back underneath it, I have a beautiful sky that is now fixed and repaired. Photo, that's a whole different story. But there's all the dirt back and there's all the dirt gone. So hopefully you found this video interesting. Let me know if I can share any more Photoshop or photography tips with you. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to this channel, check out my Instagram at galleryassess.photo, and let me know if you want me to post some landscape photos that I take, because I do take them here and there. And I don't always do HDR, but yeah, let me know. And this is Sean with Gallery SS, signing off.